An entire board set from a Williams The Machine Bride of PinBot Rotten Dog MPU board, the OEM power driver board, much preferred, and the OEM pre-DCS soundboard, and I have the displays also that I'll test in just a moment. The driver board, I've done the standard rehab to it, C2, which often leaks, replace C4, which is in a 5-volt rectification and smoothing circuit, and C5, which is the main smoothing capacitor for the 5-volt circuit. All replaced, all the power headers and all the GI headers replaced all the way around. On the MPU board, I have installed NVRAM. I'll put a nice label on that ROM chip in just a moment. I've replaced the craptastic Rotten Dog header at J210, and I've installed a lower voltage reset generator in place of the OEM reset generator. There were some hacks on the back of this board. I've removed them because the game is going to be a total restore, and I'm assuming he's not going to want to hack those column headers in. On the soundboard, and this is what the client said, there was a lightning strike in the area, and the first time that they turned the game on, the sound was at max volume, so they turned the game off rapidly. I experienced the same thing. Even after rehabbing this board, I've replaced these two 4700 microfarad caps. All the 47 microfarad caps, there's a 100 microfarad cap over here. It's a little dark in there, but there's a 10 microfarad tantalum in there, a 22 microfarad electrolytic there. Those are sometimes indicted in failure of the LM1875 amplifier. Not failure, I guess it causes it to cut off. So I've taken care of all that, and the root cause of the volume not being able to adjust down is almost always this 8-pin chip, which is an X9C503 digital potentiometer. And these are getting harder to find. I'll have to price those out. I don't remember what those things cost these days. I did not use a socket in this instance because 8-pin sockets just don't hold the chip well enough for my liking. So what I do is I just mount the chip a little high on the board so it's easier to get off if it ever needs to come off again. So we are in test, and I have my beautiful blue display that was sent to me as a kit from Victor, aka Dumbass, on Pinside. You can see a credit dot there a second ago. This display is beautiful. The video image just doesn't really show how spectacular the blue is, and this is going to look really good in my funhouse someday when I decide to put it in there. Here's the reason for the credit dot: is the head motor's not behaving as the game thinks it should. Of course, it's not in a game, so that would be cause of that. We're going to test every function of the CPU and the driver board. So the first thing is switch test. Going across the diagonal. Interesting. Columns 2 and 5. Well, let me switch that around. Column 1 and 3 appear. There's 4. Do I have a connector off here or something? Try moving that connector. Try that again. Yeah. So what I did there is I moved my column connector from down here to up here, so I'll have to examine that connector, but from here that looks like it might have some corrosion on it, so we'll have to address that. Other switches that can be tested. Well, it looks like D2 did not work either. Oh, there it is. That might be a connector also. Rotten Dog just really used crappy connectors in my mind, so I'm going to take a look at that after I get this thing off. There's the other coin door buttons. All right. So, possible connector issues. Solenoid test. Solenoid 4 is a gate, so it's turned on for a longer period of time so that the owner operator can see what's going on. 27 is a motor relay. I'll have to go back and see what 25 is. It looks like it's locked on, but it's probably a directional signal. Let's see. Let's test the general illumination. If you ever have GI problems, there's a set of awesome diagrams in the PinWiki that will help you get that sorted out. Let's do lamps and flashers. Hey Chase, what's going on? Is it lunchtime or something, Chase? Lamps and flashers are working fine. Guess we could do display tests. It's really kind of meaningless. I guess the MPU circuitry can be shown to be successfully driving the displays. Okay, let me back all the way out of this and turn the volume back up.
Thank you.
Okay. I keep thinking this is in a fun house, but it's clearly not.
Yes. How do I look? You look good. What's happening?
So soundboard is back in total operation. So the only thing left, we're gonna have to find out what solenoid 25 is. And then I want to find out what's going on with these switch headers down here. Solenoid 25 is the helmet lights data port. So as long as those helmet lights are dancing around her helmet, that solenoid is going to be turned on. Now here's the problem with these connectors. You can see there's corrosion on there. Not sure I can show that any better. Let me try. And so you might wonder, how is there corrosion on the header of a Rotten Dog MPU that somebody has clearly replaced the original MPU with? Well, probably the female connectors had corrosion on them, and that corrosion then transferred to these headers. So these headers got to come off. I'll take all the bottom ones off, and then I'll examine the top ones. Well, I have these headers off, and you can see there's some corrosion underneath there, so that's going to get sanded off, conformal coated, and then I'll install the new headers. All right, we're back on the bench, and I have replaced all 6 of the headers, 2 column, 2 row, the direct switches and more direct switch. I'm sorry, this is a column/row header for the cabinet, and then these 2 are I'm sorry, for the playfield. Yeah, big old finger. So let's test these switches now. And I'm in edge test. Now these are going to be fine. Yeah. We're cooking on the front burner now. Oops. There we go. Well, I keep hitting the back button. Everything's working fine. Now I mentioned it, but solenoid 25 is the helmet lights data port. Let's take a look at this switch matrix also. Please leave me alone, Mr. Norton. And column 8 of the switch matrix is not used, and it's somewhat irritating, but Williams software engineers decided to not report switches that aren't used, so column 8 is not reported in switch test. But this 3-board set is now good to go. I also tested each of the ribbon cables the client sent. And here are the dual display panel for that Bride of PinBot. And it looks like both these glasses are really nice still. So both the high voltage generation section, the digital logic section of the controller board, and both glass panels are operating correctly. Wow, they really went overboard with the testing during this phase. All good.